Hello, this is Brian Freiberger coming at you with another episode of the People of the Peninsula podcast. In this week's episode, I talk with the U.S. Representative for Michigan's 1st Congressional District, Jack Bergman. We talk about the government shutdown, SNAP benefits, school funding, AI data centers, and even Venezuela. Bergman has been a congressman since 2017, representing all 15 counties of the Upper Peninsula and more than 20 counties in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula. Prior to his political career, he had a distinguished 40-year career in the U.S. Marine Corps. Enjoy. Awesome, Congressman. Yeah, I'm back here. Just pulling up my sheet here. Just one moment.
You said your
Um,
name is Brian?
yep, Brian Freiberger with the Illinois Enterprise, and you know we want to just kind of catch up with you. I know you guys are ready to get back to work. Just kind of give us an update. How you're feeling. I know you posted on Facebook yesterday. Just kind of tell us how you feeling about the deadline. Do we have any end in sight?
Well, I mean, how do I feel? First of all, I have no feelings. Okay. This is about business, and I don't want feelings to get in the way, so I'll just get right to the point.
Okay.
Um, the House of Representatives, a month ago passed a clean CR, continuing resolution.
Hmm.
Clean means there's not a whole lot of, think of a Christmas tree with a lot of extra ornaments on it that don't really belong on the tree. Okay. So a clean CR, clean continuing resolution, keeps the government open and it doesn't add any poison pills to it. It just keeps it clean. And we had done that at the end of September to keep the government open for October and November, I think to be exact, November 21st, to allow the Senate, the House, the administration, the bureaucracies to negotiate and figure out next steps forward to fund those programs necessary for the health and welfare, okay, of our American citizens. That was the vote. The House voted on it. We had all Republicans and I think one Democrat vote for it, and we sent it, which is normal, to the Senate. And the Senate has refused to pass it. They have voted, I think, at least 10 times now. And this is a self inflicted, senseless Schumer shutdown. You notice there's alliteration in there, but it's self inflicted by the Senate Democrats. All they would have to do, the minority leader Schumer would have to do in the Senate is to say, no, we need enough votes to get the 60 votes to open the government back up so we can begin to continue to provide the necessary goods and services to people of our country, and not be holding the American people hostage, which is what the Democrat Party has chosen to do. Because again, the Republicans passed a clean CR, said, okay, let's keep the government open. Let's talk about how do we move forward with the things we have to negotiate out. But the Democrats said, no, we'd rather make it painful for American people and who really need assistance in many cases.
Yeah.
The Democrats are holding the American people hostage. And it's one thing if you're deep pocketed and you're not paying for all sorts of things. But if you're a family of four where both parents are working and they're working two jobs and they qualify for and rate uh, food assistance, to just one example, it is shameful that the Democrats have chosen to hold those people hostage.
Yeah, thanks for kind of giving us a update on how you're feeling. And I want to, obviously jump into now, SNAP. And if you could just kind of, give us your opinion on, and your message to the community about, people getting their SNAP benefits cut off. Obviously.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna tell you my message to, but that's a fair question
Mm.
because I would suggest to you there are two in Michigan, because my message is the people of Leelanau, okay, or the surrounding areas. You're Michiganders. My suggestion is both of Michigan's senators, Senator Peters and Senator Slotkin, have voted to keep the government shut down. My message to your voters is reach out to your senators' offices, not even your Michigan House of Representatives group, but the Senate has it's holding the whole ball in their court. So and SNAP benefits at the rate, because the government is not open, because the Democrats decided they're willing to put American people who would rate and need SNAP benefits. The Democrats are willing to hold those people hostage. The Democrats are willing to hold people who rate SNAP benefits hostage to basically pander to their progressive, let's say Bernie Sanders base, the leftists, the socialists, the communists. The Democrats they are using our people in Michigan as hostages.
I want to just jump in. I know your time's very valuable. Just a few more questions to you, just about the upcoming healthcare changes. Again, with November coming up and January, the first year, people are going to be looking for new insurance and prices are going up. Do you have any more information regarding that, or anything you can kind of fill us in with?
You know who's making all the money on the subsidies?
You can inform. No, can you inform me?
Yeah, the insurance companies.
Mhm.
The insurance companies, the subsidies that are necessary for people who need them. People who need them. Insurance company profits are up something like 287%. The subsidies go to the insurance companies. The insurance company hoped that these enrollees don't enroll. They get to keep all the profits. This is this is a scam that was perpetrated back at the beginning of the Affordable Care Act back in 2010. And in 2014, when the ACA, Affordable Care Act, premium tax credits became available, they were meant to help families earning 100 to 400% of it's called FPL, federal poverty level. It was meant to help those folks who were the lowest income earners to help them get their coverage. Okay. 2021, the Democrats temporarily expanded those subsidies to everyone, regardless of their income, for 1 year. So you could be making millions of dollars a year and you would still qualify for those subsidies. In 2022, the Democrats again extended the expansion, but they only did it through January 1st of 2026. So in another couple of months here. These expansions were never meant to be permanent. They were supposed to last while the Democrats could continue to push their unique and not workable, affordable care, universal health care. And these, again, the subsidies don't go directly to the patients. They go to the insurance companies. In fact, I'll put a little meat on the bone. Millions of the so-called, it's called ghost enrollees, people who are technically eligible but unaware of it, never use the subsidies. That's what I mean when the insurers pocket the difference. So it's a really kind of a shell game that's been used by the Democrats in combination with the insurance companies and in potential combination with some of the private healthcare corporations. The ACA itself, it still remains law. What's expiring are the COVID era subsidies for the higher income Americans who don't need taxpayer help to pay for insurance. So the bottom line here, Republicans aren't taking away health care. We're ending the unnecessary COVID era giveaways to the insurance companies and restoring the ACA to what the Democrats originally designed it to be.
Thank you for, explaining your piece on that. I certainly appreciate it. I know we're just jumping around to a couple different topics here, and then I'll let you go. So you represent the majority of the federally impacted schools in the state. I know the federal impact aid staff was recently laid off. Um, do you think these employees will be rehired, and what is the current status of the impact aid program that you can
Yeah,
update us?
well, you know that I'm a believer that we are a country of states' rights.
Mhm.
And if Michigan wants to educate its, and I'm talking here K through 12, whatever the colleges and universities do, whole different ballgame. The K through 12, if Michigan wants to educate their kids, they can do it their way. If Minnesota wants to do it their way, if New Mexico wants, you know what I mean? States' rights for K through 12 education. The way the Department of Education has been set up here in Washington, D.C., it takes at least 30% of the money, the dollars that members of Congress like me appropriate for education K through 12. And the Department of Education here takes about 30 cents of every dollar. So only 70 cents goes to the state. What we started a year ago and long before that is to reduce the unnecessary size and the influence of the Department of Education in the state's curriculums and how they administer and provide public K through 12 education. So when we talk about these federal aid programs, the monies are still going to be appropriated by us in Congress, but we're going to take the Department of Education system out of the loop and send it directly to the state. So our governor has control of the money, and we're going to put it where it belongs in the purview of the state of Michigan leadership. The challenge Michigan has in its whatever it calls its state board of education, who does what it likes but is accountable to no one. So if you want to do an interesting article, take a look at how Michigan is structured and how those Lansing bureaucrats basically don't report to anybody. That's a pretty scary thought.
Just want to make sure I clear. So I mean, but the schools, at least by me, Glen Lake, Leland, there's some more up by they sit on federal property, and so they don't get that revenue. Do you still think
Yeah,
those schools should
we're
get some
work
sort of federal aid?
we're where I live in the Western UP, we have a similar area because to get where does your funding for your local schools come from? It comes from your local tax base,
Mhm.
the people who
Yeah.
live there, work there, own homes, whatever it happens to be. So we're still working through the details of getting those schools who are uniquely surrounded by federal property, or in some cases on federal property or whatever it happens to be. We're working through that. I don't have an answer yet because the Democrats in DC have shut the government down. So I've got nobody to talk to in the bureaucracies because the Democrats sent them all home.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. Thanks for responding to that, and just come more, and I'll let you go here. I know re-elections coming up here. My personal opinion, one of the biggest issues that maybe readers have been coming up to me is talking about these AI data centers, and like when are they going to start coming to northern Michigan, or at least prodding. And I've heard just offhand comments, but I just wanted to get you on the record. What's your stance of AI data centers in northern Michigan? Do you see there's a industry here for that, or do you not?
Well, I think number one, thanks for asking the question because it's a valid, is the basic question is an AI data center good for the local economy or not? Okay.
Hmm.
Because most people don't understand the mathematical equation of electricity. In other words, first of all, you have to generate the electricity. Now, how you generate it, whether it's solar, wind, coal, natural gas, nuclear, pick your form of generation, that which creates the electricity, okay? Then the next step is the transmit. So the transmission through the grid of that electricity to go to where it's going to be used. Okay, then you have the distribution off of the grid into your home, your business, your community center, your AI data center. Okay, so the math has to work where the generation is equal to or greater than the distribution requirement. I know I'm getting real technical on you here, but I got a lot of time in this.
No.
And so the point is, it has to be a community decision, is that how much are we willing to sacrifice if we don't have the generation piece, the number satisfied, because those AI data centers are going to consume a lot of electricity. So that's really, it's really a local issue, but we are in the newest industrial age. There was, when you go all the way back through machinery to steam engines to, all the different industrial ages that we had, you could argue that the internet was a turning point in the industrial age. But AI is the new industrial age. The question is, how do we create it? How do we manage it? And most importantly, how do we ensure there is a moral element? And I really want you to include this, a moral element in AI, because if there is not, we assume unnecessary great risk to our country, to our world, because people, as I think it was John Adams said when our founding of our country, this form of government will only work for a moral and faithful people. Okay? That's what we have to be very careful, that we do not lose sight of the moral element of humanity.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting time, and this is interesting technology, and I just appreciate you answering that question. And I guess just to kind of end it off here. I mean, I personally, I've never been to the White House, the East Wing. What's your thoughts on that new construction over there? I mean, do you have any certain memories over there in that side of the place?
Well, the bottom line is the White House, other than the fact that British, burned it to the ground, if you remember back in the early 1800s. So, like any building over time, whether it's places in Leelanau, whether it's places in DC, whatever, they need to be upgraded construction wise. What I will tell you is this. The point that it's being done with private money and not taxpayers' money. Because in 2010, President Obama used $200 million of taxpayer money to renovate part of the White House. You know what? I'm a steward of the taxpayers', funds. Every day I make sure the government is not wasting, abusing, or fraudulently spending hard-earned tax dollars that are paid by our citizens. So other than that, every building we have here in DC needs to be safe and secure. And some buildings we have that don't need to be used at all because we have bloated, and if you want to put this in there, I don't care because I use it in public. We have morbidly obese bureaucracies here in Washington, D.C. And that's one of the reasons I decided to run 10 years ago, was because we as a federal government are way too large, way too overbearing, and don't deliver enough of the goods and services that our citizens rate and need. And that's why, to put the capstone on here, the Democrats, Schumer and his progressive buddies over in the Senate, need to open the government back up so we can get back to work for the American people.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome, awesome. I guess if there was just one more thing I think I got here to ask you.
Now you've had four more one more things. Is this the last one or the second to the last one more thing?
This is the last one. Sorry about that. Yeah. I just enjoyed talking with you, so I appreciate it. And if you want to comment on this or not, I mean, are we, obviously we're loading up down there in the Caribbean. Do you have any thoughts on the Venezuela situation, and if President Trump should go through Congress to get what they needed to do done?
What's the role of any commander in chief? And we have 51 commanders in chief in our country. We have the president and 50 governors. Okay. So if you're the governor of Michigan, let's say, you're responsible for the safety and security of your citizens. Okay. The president is responsible for the safety and security of all American citizens. And very simply, fentanyl kills. Fentanyl kills hundreds of thousands of people in the United States every year, especially youngsters who don't know what they're dealing with. And guess who brings fentanyl into the country? It's the cartels. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going back 20 plus years when I was still in a Marine Corps uniform. I spent a lot of time in the Caribbean and the area down there that you're referring to. The cartels run the show. The cartels call the shots. The cartels only make money if they're distributing fentanyl to our youth. I want that to end, and they don't deserve anything other than they can quit, or we're going to stop them.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I appreciate. I just appreciate your time, and we wish you the best of luck. So thank you, Congressman, and have a great day.
So I got one question for you.
Yeah. What's up?
Is it Brian with a Y or an I?
An I.
Got it. All right.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. We wish you a happy Halloween. You're dressing up as anything, or you're just?
I'm going to dress up as a member of Congress.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal.
All right. That's scary. That's scary enough for some people.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks. See you. Bye.
All right. Bye.